Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, Pop Retro 1 on social media. That would be on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook now. Facebook.com/PopRetro1 is where you can find the Facebook page. So head over there and give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. And, we'll get that subscriber count up there. So, would like to take a few minutes today to talk about the recent Blu-ray release from Mill Creek Entertainment, one of my favorite Blu-ray and DVD releasing labels of MacGRUBER from 2010. Now, MacGRUBER, of course, is the movie. MacGRUBER is spun off of the Saturday Night Live skits of the same name, which started around 2007. I think they ran from about 2007 to around the time the movie came out. And what's interesting about MacGRUBER, of course, is that it's after so many years. What is this? 2021 when I'm shooting this. This movie came out in 2010, and now there is a television series that's going to be streaming. I'm not sure which network. It's one of the streaming networks, maybe like Apple or something like that. But a MacGRUBER series is actually in the works. In fact, as of this recording, the series is actually already completely shot, and they're probably editing it right now and deciding on when to release it. So MacGRUBER lives on. This movie, of course, I thought it was pretty fun. I had my little nephew over. This was about a month ago, and I was told by his mother, my sister, that he really likes the old school spoof satire movies like Airplane. He really liked Airplane. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll get out some movies that'll be along those lines, and we can just have a movie night while he spends the weekend. And he's 16 years old. And so he had watched Airplane, so I got out all the Naked Gun movies and the Police Academy movies and everything I could find sort of that was along those lines. And I had been sent this MacGRUBER, which I had seen in the past, and I had to write a review for it at moviesanddrinks.com, which you can find that review there, a written review, moviesanddrinks.com, where we write about movies, not so much about drinks. We're gonna have to change that one of these days. But I decided that this would fit in too, probably be something that he would, at least get a couple of chuckles out of. And so, the movie itself stars Will Forte, the same guy who played MacGRUBER in the Saturday Night Live sketches. And Forte he's actually pretty funny in the role, I think. It's silly comedy if you're really into that type of thing. And what's interesting to me also was just kind of how, 2010, the comedy in a movie from 2010 is really kind of, you look at it and go, oh, I'm not sure a lot of that would fly in 2021. And in my review that I wrote at moviesanddrinks.com, I wrote about how I felt the same way about even a more recent movie, the theatrical Baywatch, the one with Dwayne Johnson and Zac Efron. That movie, even now, I watched that in the theater back in 2017, and now watching it, there's just humor in it that was just kind of regular humor that now, everybody's so sensitive about everything that you watch it back now and it's like, oh my gosh, they probably wouldn't even make this today. And so I feel the same about MacGRUBER, which was, again, made in 2010, which might as well be 1910, the way the world is kind of looking at a lot of things today. So Kristen Wiig, Ryan Philippe, and those two play his sidekicks, and they're fine. But I really like Val Kilmer as the bad guy. He's the big bad guy. He plays, what's the name? Dieter von Kunt. And so just the name itself, obviously funny. And Val Kilmer is, one of those classic action adventure stars that 80s kids grew up with. And so it was really fun to see him in this. And I thought he kind of stole the show. He's a little over the top, obviously. It's a comedy. Not everything's over the top, but Von Kunt and MacGRUBER, the characters, especially MacGRUBER, are way over the top, whereas the rest of the cast is sort of trying to play it straight. And I think that's what lends itself to the comedy of the piece, of the movie, is that you've got all these, the whole world around them is playing it serious. And these two guys, especially MacGRUBER, is just so comically inept and narcissistic and awful that everybody just standing around looking at each other like, oh my God, I can't believe this is the guy that's going to save the world. And so that, I think, to me, that's a lot of what the main humor is. That's what's funny to me about this. A couple of the running gags that were funny to me were the fact that he had kind of been in hiding since 1999. Everybody thought he was dead. He comes back to life with, he still drives his 98 Mazda Miata convertible, and it has an old school CD player. And back in the late 90s, remember those pull out, you had to pull out the stereo, and you take it with you with a little handle on it. And so that's what that's what he does throughout the whole movie. Anytime he gets out of his car, he pulls out the stereo and takes it with him because, by God, somebody's gonna steal it. So that's funny to me. There's some stuff that was probably funny in 2010 that I thought was just kind of stupid today, but my little nephew, he found funny, So, and that's the thing. It's comedy. We all find different things to be funny, and that's just thank God for that. If everybody liked the same things, it would be a pretty boring world. So take a quick look at the Mill Creek version, Blu-ray version of this, and this is a re-release. I think Universal released it on Blu-ray initially, and Mill Creek put it back into print. Now this is, from what I can tell, an R-rated version. I think there may have been an unrated version, and I'm not sure if that actually came out on the older disc, but this, from what I can tell, is the R-rated version. It doesn't list another version on the back, and it's the version I watched, and that was fine. I enjoyed it. My nephew enjoyed it. Take a quick look at the back of the box. And look at the disc. I was going to peek around the corner here so I can see where I'm putting it on the camera. There you go. It's a nice little package from Mill Creek Ent. Again, one of my favorite labels because, they keep releasing things that either have never been released, things from the 80s and 90s, and also things that have gone out of print and that you can't find easily anymore. And they're also a budget label, so things like this you're going to be able to find for, anywhere between $7, $6 or $7 when they're having a sale, like on Amazon or wherever, up to maybe $14 at the most. But usually you're going to find Mill Creek stuff between $8 and $12 is what I've found in my shopping. So there you have it, MacGRUBER. Check it out. And also you might check out that new MacGRUBER TV series. Oh, I should add, of course, before I blow through this review, that MacGRUBER, of course, was a play on the old TV series MacGyver from the 80s. And I forgot to mention that. I just assume that it's common knowledge. But if you've never seen MacGyver, you might check out that too. Now, that, of course, had a modern day reboot that's been on TV. I think it just ended, but a couple years back, on CBS, I think they had a reboot series, which I've never watched. But if you get a chance to watch a couple episodes of the original series, they're standalone episodes for the most part, action adventure. The guy is able to use spare parts and create anything out of anything. And, MacGRUBER, the skits on Saturday Night Live, just sort of took that to an absurd level. And of course, everything that he touches and tries to put together winds up not working and usually blowing things up or killing people. And that's just kind of the joke of MacGRUBER. So do I recommend it? Sure. If you're into absurd, stupid stuff, yeah, go ahead and get it. And I enjoy it for what it is. And remember, it's a Saturday Night Live skit turned into a movie. So you should know how those turn out. Usually those wind up being not very sought after, especially in the critical space. But, I've kind of never went along with what critics say. In fact, if critics say, "Oh, it sucks," usually I flock to it to check it out. But I would say too, if you're an action fan, a fan of action movies from the 80s and 90s, this is also kind of a throwback or a homage, a spoof of those as well, because you can see there's a little bit of Stallone and Rambo in there, a little bit of Schwarzenegger Commando era in there, and that sort of stuff just kind of filtering throughout. And also it's got a fairly big budget sheen to it, you know, lots of explosions and things blowing up and some cool stunts and you know, shootouts and all kinds of action adventure things going on. So if you're into that stuff's actually in here. I thought that about the Baywatch movie in 2017 also, that you know, it's a comedy and they're making fun, but it did have that big budget sheen when it came to the action set pieces, which was kind of fun if you're into that stuff. So again, there you have it, 2010's MacGruber on Blu-ray. Check it out. You can find the links in the description to this video, and I'll also put a link to my review up at moviesanddrinks.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.